The doctor told me I'd never ride a horse again. Here's my story. So, 2014, I'm driving down the street, and I never saw it coming, but I got T-boned into the driver's side of my truck. I don't remember the impact. I don't remember much of anything. I've gone back trying to remember, but I lost about 4 days. I don't remember getting out. I remember a voice yelling at me saying, "Sit still, we're gonna get you out, don't worry, they're gonna come soon, don't move." And over and over again, I remember hearing that voice. The scary part was not knowing, and when my airbags went off, it smelled like fire. And so I had a brief moment there, I'm guessing, that I thought I was on fire. And I remember trying to find a knife, a pocket knife or something, because I didn't want to burn to death. And I thought, I got to do this because I am not burning to death. So that's the last that I remember. Then the voices, and the next thing I heard was, "Where does it hurt?" And I remember pointing, and then I don't remember anything. It's kind of a in and out time for me. Then I remember hearing, "Hold that ambulance, he needs an ambulance too." And I remember somebody in the ambulance saying, "Not this one." And off we went. I remember waking up and I saw a doctor do this. And I thought, I wonder what that is, And I was out again. And then I remember waking up and I was in ICU. And a doctor was there and he said, "Do you remember anything?" And I told him what I remembered. And he said, "You have severed your neck." And I've always been a little bit of a smart aleck, and I said, "I guess that's bad?" And he said, "Yeah, that's very bad." And I went, okay. By that time, people were starting to get to the hospital. One person said, I called them and I said, "I broke my neck and it wasn't my fault." So I don't remember doing that, but anyway, they were able to track me. The doctor told me I had been to 3 other hospitals on the way to the trauma center, and nobody would touch me. They just said they just couldn't do it. They weren't set up. They didn't know what to do. All kinds of stories, I guess. And in each hospital, they had done an MRI and some other things, but I don't remember any of it, unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know. But I was lying in the ICU, and at this point I had a brace on my neck, and I wasn't able to move. My son was out of state, and he was there the next time I woke up. And I guess I was in ICU for a day and a half maybe, and doctors were in and out, and nobody was really saying anything. Finally, a doctor came in, and I didn't know him. I didn't know any of these doctors. Later I found out he was the dean of neurology. And he walked in and he said, "Hi, how are you?" Duh. I went, "Okay." And he said, "I want to do an experiment. I want to try to help you." And I said, "Okay." And I said, what are you going to do? And he said, I don't know. I won't know until after I get inside. And I said, inside me? I'm totally at a loss, and I'm sure I was feeling no pain. And he said, yes. And my son said, you got to do it. And I went, okay. And he said, great, I'll see you tomorrow morning. So I thought, man, that was fast. But the next day came in, and I remember there's a room before the operating room. There's a room. And I remember the doctor standing there with me, and he was saying, we're going to try to do something, take it easy. And I remember telling him, are there other options? And he said, yes. And I went, oh. And he said, I could just get you a bed and you could just stay there until finally all the oxygen's gone. And I went, okay. And so I looked at him and I said, Doc, if it looks like it's going to go south, please let me die on the table. And he said, I can't do that. And I said, please, nobody will know. I don't want to, and I can't live like this. And he said, you never know what you can do, but I'm a doctor and I took an oath, and we're going to see what we can do for you. That's the last I remember. The next thing I remember is waking up back in ICU. I think my son said it was the next day, or maybe 2, I don't remember. And the doctor came in and he went out, and he didn't say anything, and it was the weirdest feeling. I thought, what the? And the next day he came in and he said, I owe you an apology. And I said, what? And he said, yeah. He said, I walked in and walked out. And I said, yeah, you did, but And he said, do you notice you don't have a brace on? Now, I've gone from not being able to move, so I didn't know, I didn't have a brace on. I thought I still had a brace on, and I said, no. And I went like this, and I said, I can move. And he said, yes. And I said, what did you do? You cured me. I was so ecstatic, I was like, I'm alive, this is so cool. I'm normal. I can do everything. And he said, not quite everything. And I went, okay. And he said, so what I want you to do is sit up. And I just looked at him and I went, Doc, really? And he said, yeah, try it. And so I sat up, and he said, did you notice anything different? And I went, not really, because I am like so high right now because I'm alive. He said, so what I've done is I've placed 2 rods in the back of your head. See, before, my chin was down here, and I couldn't look up. I couldn't look at anybody in their face. All I could see was their shoes. And I said, great. I can see, I'm looking at you. And he said, yes. He said, but with everything, some rain must fall. And I looked at him and I went, what? And he said, so these rods that I placed in your neck, so there are 2 rods. Here's your brain, here's the rod, okay? They're going to embed into your shoulders, okay? Sooner or later, they're going to become one down there. But with the brain, it's soft, and it's not going to happen. And so there's a few things you're going to have to think about. And I said, okay. And he said, 1, you're not going to be able to look up or down. And I went, "Pfft, okay." And he said, "You're not going to be able to look sideways." And I went, okay. And I thought, nobody's raining on my parade. And he said, things that you will not ever be able to do again. Play football. And I went, okay. Slide into home plate. And I went, okay. So it went on and on. Be careful that you don't trip. Don't play with dogs that can knock you down. And he said, from talking to your son, this is going to be the worst news I have to tell you. And I said, what's that? And he said, you cannot be around, you cannot take care of, and you cannot ever ride a horse again. And I went, Doc, you've just taken my life away. And he said, yeah, I know, I understand, you're an avid horse person. And I said, I am. They're my passion. I love them. I can't get enough of them. It's just, I love them. My dad was a jockey. I absolutely love them. I live to ride and to be around my horses. And he said, so let me tell you what's going to happen if you take a fall or you get bucked off or something. He said, pressure from when you hit the ground. He said, it's true in everybody. He said, things move in your body. You break things, you get out of adjustment, you got to go to the chiropractor, you're on aspirin for a couple days. Things happen. In your case, from a fall, the pressure from landing will push everything just like everybody else, but those rods will go through the brain and you will die instantly. And so I'm sorry to tell you this, but you are alive. And I went, okay. So after a couple days, I got to go home. And I sat around, and I sat around, and I sat around for about 3 years. I wasn't driving very well at all because I couldn't use the mirrors or anything, and people were like, I'm not driving with you, are you crazy? I'd go, come on, I can drive. So that was a challenge. I had horses. I didn't touch them. I didn't take care of them. I didn't ride. I basically didn't do anything. I had a tablet, and for hours on hours, I'd watch movies on my tablet. I'd play games. I'd see stuff. It was kind of like a lifeline, and I just wasn't living. That's the thing. And I told myself, this isn't life. Pretty crummy. So I went to bed and got up in the morning still feeling the exact same way. I turned my tablet on, and this thing about Steady Horse came on. And I thought, what's Steady Horse? I really didn't know anything about it. And I shut it off because I thought, what do I care? I'm never going to be able to do anything, so what do I care? Went to bed, got up the next morning, turned my tablet on, and there it is again. And I thought, weird. So what I noticed about Steady Horse back then was the way Noah moved his hands, and he wasn't yanking and pulling and tugging and yelling and screaming. It was almost like a gesture, asking the horse to do this type of stuff. And I thought, I wonder if I could do that. And in my mind, I could do it. I was going to do it. I could do this, you know. And I got dressed. Up till that point, usually it was shorts and a t-shirt just hanging out at the house, but I got dressed and I went down to the barn and I pulled up Chili, because Chili is, he's Arab and thoroughbred. May I say, I don't have to say anything more, I'm sure. So I thought, being the hot little guy he was, if it worked on Chili, it would work on anybody. And if I could do it on Chili, it would work on anybody. So I got Chili, and I was looking at the different things that Noah had online. And I got to tell you, I am not a social media person, so this was really hard for me to do. But it was worth it. Like, I don't do Facebook. All my friends go, oh, get on Facebook with me. Nah, I don't do any of that stuff. I don't know if it's my age or what, but I don't do it. So I went nuts trying to find stuff that Noah was doing and trying it. And Chili was really taken to it. I mean, it was like, wow, look at this, you know, and I felt pretty good. I felt really safe, and he was really listening and watching, and I swear at one time he smiled. I said, you like this stuff, guy? And I swear he smiled at me. But, you know, the more we did, the more he started just coming around. And so I thought, I can do this. Now, at no time did I tell my son I was doing horses. And later, as a matter of fact, just recently, I found out that my son had called Noah and said, please don't let her ride a horse. And I had just found that out all these years. But I next took Zeba. Zeba's my mare. She's my baby. Just at 17 hands and about 1675 in weight. She's my little girl. And I started working her, and she loved this stuff. And then it was Kid's turn. Kid's my little quarter horse, and when I first got him, he was a gift, and when he came off the trailer, I looked at him and I went, he's a pony! But he isn't. He's just short for his size. He's just a short little guy, but I love him. So, all three of them, I started working all three of them. I had help. I decided that every horse on the ranch was going to do this, and I called friends and everybody joined in, and we got them all done. I wasn't able to do a lot of things how Noah shows you to do it, but with him, he was able to change some stuff up for me so that I could work it in a different direction, and I was easy to do it with my it's not a handicap, it's a I don't know, just a block, okay? It's just a block in my head. So I was able to do my three, and with help we got everybody finished. But one of the things that I noticed about Steady Horse was their demeanor had totally changed. It didn't take their spirit away, and it didn't take some of the silly things that they do away, but it made them more conscious to me. Whether I am riding, and yes, I do ride. People go, are you crazy? And I always tell them that's just a rumor. I am not. But it made them more conscious of me, whether I'm on the ground or on them. It's like they're my personal babysitters or something. We have got a bond that nobody can break. I mean, it's an amazing bond. Anything I ask, they give. It's. I don't know how he did it, how he came up with it. I only know that it works. So for me, paralyzed is not a good word for me to use either, but I have no movement from the shoulders up. So I've learned to use my waist a lot. If I want to make sure I have the same shoes on in the morning, I just bend over at the waist and I go, oh, okay, I'm good to go. If I want to look over there, I just use, everything's done at the waist. Same with riding. If I want to see to my side, if I want to see what's down, I have to do this. So when I'm riding, I have got to really trust my horse. I couldn't tell you if I'm putting us in a hole or water or anything because I don't see it. I see that there's trees out there and we're going to get to the trees, but I don't see anything else. So I've got to trust my horse. Do I want to fall off of a horse? No. Does anybody? No. But did I want to give up my passion? No. No, I went from not living to living again. I mean, I brush them all the time. I may not ride every day. I'm not out riding every day, but when I want to ride, I just go get a horse and I ride. I got things to do like everybody else. I'm sure not everybody in the world rides every day. But I go get whoever I want to ride and I saddle up. I do my groundwork, of course. Groundwork is important for all those people that don't think it isn't. It truly is important. It sets you up for the what ifs. People go, why do you do that in groundwork? Why are you swinging your stick like that? It's because if I'm riding and a tree happens to fall or a branch or whatever, my horse is used to something coming down on its side or on top of them, and they don't care, It's like, so, and we'll just keep on going down the trail. So I went from, I don't know if the definition is normal or not, but I went from a full life to a no life to reborn life. I remember one thing the doctor said to me before I left the hospital. He said, you're one of a handful of people in the world that has had this near death that was given a second life. And he said, doctors call it second life because they don't know why, how, what happens, but something is there and you're able to live. And he said, promise me one thing. And this was my last visit, because when I got out of the hospital, I had to go back and forth every day to his clinic every day, and then it went to once a week, once a month, and then it was like quarterly, and until he cut me loose. And this was the very last day that I saw him. And he said, promise me one thing. And I said, okay. And he said, don't waste your second life. And so he said, I know a people like you. And I know that they want to go back and do the things that they did. But not everybody gets a second life. I remember his words were it tore at me, you know. And he said, so don't waste it. And I said, okay. And he said, you know what I mean? And I said, yep. And he says, no horses. And I said, I understand. And he said, okay. I think that's what got me through the years of not touching them, was those words coming through my head all the time. Don't waste your second life. We don't know of anybody that's got a third. Don't waste your second life. I think at a point that I was so scared, and I'm not a fearful person, okay? I don't get scared easily. But I think I was so scared that I was going to die that I just didn't do anything. I mean, I absolutely didn't do anything. It wasn't until waking up one day and seeing this guy doing steady horse. So what I tell my friends, okay, I'm 70. I never thought I'd be 70, but I'm 70. And I have friends that go and get new horses, and they're happy, and they're riding and all this kind of stuff. And so what I tell them is, you know, you need to look into Steady Horse. It gave me life. You know, Noah saved my life basically because I had none. I said, you know, Steady Horse is a great program. And I tell people a little bit about my story. I don't go into depth, but, you know, how safe my horses are. That's why I ride, is because I know everything about my horses. And they know me. And that's what Steady Horse was able to give me. So I always tell people, you know, you should look at Steady Horse. There's tons of trainers out there, okay? And trust me, I've done a lot of them, but nothing, absolutely nothing like this. Easy to follow. Invest in yourself, because I can tell you that investing in yourself and your horse, making him safe, making you confident, is a whole lot cheaper than a doctor's bill. I know that sounds corny, but hey, been there. So, you know, passion. My passion is the horse. I live in my horse pasture. I love my horses. I absolutely love the horse. I love the smell of them. I love to touch them. I love everything about them. Before I leave the ranch, I drive around and I'll roll my window down and here they come, you know. I just love the horse. Do it right though, you know. Don't, you know, if somebody were to tell me about Steady Horse, and I'd go, yeah. But now that I've done it, my life kind of depended on it if I wanted to ever get back to where I was. It's amazing. It's an amazing program. It really is. It sets you up for great things. Your horse becomes a part of you. It's an attachment. And people that have been around me and my horses know, you know, all I got to do is say, come here, I want to talk to you. And here they come. It's a wonderful program. So I like so many others out there, want to do things. I'm not up to climbing mountains or anything like that, but I'm back doing what I love to do, and that's because of Noah. Steady Horse gave me a second chance.